Morning, Elise.
Good morning, Suzanne. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yay.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning, Fred.
Good morning, Fred.
Let's see. There we go. Thank you, Barry, for the heads up.
No problem.
I
Betty,
walked in this morning to Ryan Knowles meeting with the folks who are going to be wiring the building. So exciting.
yes.
Very.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, Betty. We don't see you.
I don't see me either. But I see you.
Okay, worse than death for Leo, Betty.
So you
Oh,
click the
okay.
video.
Video, start
Bottom.
video.
There you go.
There we are.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. We need one more. We have a quorum. If not, we're going to meet anyway. We have a lot to go over. We just won't vote on anything.
I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back.
Good. You know, Val was going to join us, but she
Oh, I
can't.
think we've got our quorum right there. Val and Susan, I'm letting in. Yay.
Val doesn't look the quorum. Susan Goodall sure does. Good morning, Val.
Good morning.
Val.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Val.
Good morning.
Susan Goodall was back among the active. She really
Hi,
broke her.
Susan.
Do you know she fell down a companionway on her sailboat? Fractured her femur.
Really?
Yeah, they were cruising it. Well, she'll tell you when she comes up.
Oh,
Oh,
Rachel's
good.
coming in. Yay.
Susan, Arena, good morning. Susan, could you click your video, please?
Oh, okay.
There you are. Cool. Good morning, Arena.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see everyone.
Susan, I was just telling your story, and then I shut up because here you are to tell it. Tell us about your accident and the fact that you have recovered. You can now talk about it. Susan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was doing something else. What?
I was saying that you'd had an accident. You can tell your own story now that you've recovered.
I don't know if everybody wants to hear it. I was on the sailboat going for the mooring and fell and broke my femur in December. So, but I am told that I am an excellent healer and I am back almost 100%. So that's ahead of schedule.
And where were you when this happened?
December 26th, right at the start
where
of
were you?
our charter.
But where?
British Virgin Islands.
Yeah. I mean, glorious part of the world, but no place to break your leg.
Except, they were really good. The guys came and got me out of the boat and got me on another boat, and it was just hard getting home.
Oh,
I'm glad you recovered. We have a quorum, so we can start. Roseanne Cody, I hope will join us. Don't know where she is, and also Steve Aiello too. We can at least get some basic stuff started. So I will start the recording machine. Yes, now it's recording. I'd like to open this meeting of Gloucester's Council on Aging. We are meeting remotely via Zoom transmission. Today is Tuesday, April the 4th, 2023, and it's roughly 9:30 a.m. For the recording secretary, could we do this by roll call, please, starting with Suzanne
Here.
and Val
Here, ex officio.
and Betty?
Here.
Say your full name, please.
Oh, Betty Monroe, here.
Good, Barry.
Aaron McKay.
Thank you. Barry, your microphone isn't quite as loud as it ordinarily would be.
Okay.
Susan?
Here.
That's Susan Goodall for all. And Arena.
Arena McWilliam Lopez here.
Cool. And we have Elise Sinagra as well.
Elise Sinagra here.
Good. First, item up is the agenda of approval of the minutes of March the 7th, 2023, which I'm sorry I was late in sending. They were on the wrong file. And it simply escaped me. And so I thank you, Barry, for the heads up on that. Are there any additions, subtractions, or changes on the minutes of March the 7th? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes as written, please? Susan?
I have a question on the date. For the meeting that Rosalie had was February 17th. There was the date in the thing. Was it then or was it later?
We moved it up.
Oh, okay, then that's fine. I just was
Yeah.
curious.
May I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes of March the 7th as written?
I'll move to approve.
Thank you,
Second.
Susan. Is there a second? Barry? Any further discussion? All those in favor by roll call, please. Suzanne?
Yes.
Betty?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
And I vote yes, that's unanimous. Thank you. Old business. Susan, what's up with the webpage? Anything?
Nothing's changed since the last meeting. Barry's inspirations information was supposed to go up, but I'm sorry, I forgot to check to see if that had happened.
I think
Barry,
it's
do you
good. I
know?
just don't-
It is up.
It's up?
Went up.
It is up.
Good. I have a question. Susan, do you imagine that this that the resource that will have a glossary?
I think that's
for
probably a
acronyms.
good idea.
Yeah, particularly for acronyms.
Yep. I think
Okay.
it's a good idea. We just have to find time to work on it.
Okay. Are you okay if people, when they come upon acronyms or anything to be included in the glossary, they just send them on to you?
That would be
About-
wonderful. Yep.
Which one of you? Do you care?
Both.
Both? Okay.
Yeah, I think that works easier.
Okay,
We
fine.
can argue over it then.
Any comments on the glossary before we move on? Okay, cool. Did you have a chance to look at Audible RX? Any of you?
No,
Yes, I did. I thought it looked like a very useful application for people that are using drugs and really don't want to have to go in that little booth with the pharmacist and listen, and can then go back and look at it again on their own. Because some of this stuff is awfully confusing and they never make it easy to read. So I thought it was a very good application and something that could be useful. I'd like to see it made available to people, at least to let them know that it's there.
Great. Barry?
I've been through it a couple of times.
Good.
I will put it together and send out a draft once I can reach out to the company and make sure that they review the written draft. In
Yes.
other words, we have to have a written draft, send it to them. They give the okay, then we can post it on the resource directory.
Cool. I have a cousin who's totally fluent in Spanish, and I'm sorry, it's a niece in Spanish, and she reviewed it. She was a little upset that there was some guidance that was in English only and suggested that it ought to be improved, but she thought the accent of the person speaking was clear and easy to understand. I have a Chinese friend who listened to it. Apparently they use Google Translate, and so this information is available in any language. As a standard, I think they use Portuguese as well. And my niece's husband is Haitian, and he listened to it in Creole and said it was absolutely as clear, because he also speaks Spanish as well. And he said it was as clear in Creole as it was in Spanish as it was in English. So I think this is a real jackpot. This is also going to be under the wing of Needy Meds, we hope. It was they who contacted Rich Sagal out on the West Coast to say that they wanted to retire from this. These are two pharmacists who were doing this kind of as their social community contribution to the cause. So it's a nonprofit, and what we will be doing with Needy Meds is simply maintaining the files, which is the sort of thing we already do, but without the translation service. So this is really, really cool, and it'll be obviously for free for everybody. So great, if that can go on to the other. Susan, was it you who asked me about Mark Cuban cost plus drugs?
Yes, it was me. And so I went and did some research, and everything I could find says that it's really quite good. They make their own drugs. It's all generic. They don't take insurance. But the problem with it, I think from our point of view, is much as it would be nice to make sure people knew about it, once we do that, we're opening Pandora's box, because there are other ones out there, and do we endorse one over the others? And I think probably we need to stay away from it, but I think it's too bad that, people may not know about it.
I know that Needy Meds would make a referral to it, but it's in a separate catalog because Cubans is, although it's modest, it is a for-profit. And ordinarily, Needy Meds only refers to nonprofits. But if someone were to ask at Needy Meds about Mark Cuban, they have a script to respond to make the referral. So
Good. Oh, that sounds good.
So
Okay.
then it would be your recommendation that we not include it in the book, in our
Yes.
resource? Okay,
I just don't think it's appropriate for us,
Oh.
unfortunately.
thank you. Barry?
I tend to disagree a little bit with Susan on this one. I think if we simply amend the introduction to our resource directory and make it very clear that we are not endorsing any of these agencies, we are simply providing them to the seniors of our community, their families and friends, as a resource to explore and find alternatives. And to that end, I think we could put that there's basically the three of them, including Mark's, but there's also Good RX. And from everything that I've seen written about them, there are many people who don't have insurance who actually take the three different companies, get quotes, and take the lowest quote.
They do.
Which that's the best of the best system I could think of for a person that does not have medical drug benefits within their health plans. So again, my suggestion is to put all three of them in, but again, amend our introduction to
Okay.
include a disclaimer that we are providing no recommendation for any of these companies. It's simply informational for the seniors and their families and friends to explore.
Okay, Susan,
If there were three, I would agree, but I went out on the web and said, what were alternatives to cost plus drugs? And I got a list of 7 or 8 of them. And, that's an awful lot. And how do we decide which ones we're going to put in that list? We'd have to look and see which ones were the better ones, or do we call all of them? I mean, I think we're just getting into too many of these things.
okay.
Ed?
Val,
Thank you. So I might suggest that if we're not certain what to do with this, I would suggest through the chair that we ask Elise to speak to Suzanne Egan at legal to find out what she thinks about this, because I do think that there could be some legal ramifications of posting that and leaving someone out, and then people are going to be offended, and it's going to become a whole thing of us advertising for different nonprofits, which I think could be a little bit of the wrong way to go. So I would just suggest getting some legal consultation.
thank you.
Thank you, Val. If I could just speak to that for 1 second, Fred.
Yes, please.
I have people approach me constantly, for-profits, that want access to, they want seniors to know about their for-profit entity and what they do. And I tell them all the time that we have a space here where they're welcome to put their brochures. But we can't my policy here is that we partner with nonprofits. If you're a for-profit, we give you that little space downstairs to leave your brochures. But for the reasons that Susan and Val just mentioned, it's the whole slippery slope thing. I mean, once you start kind of listing, even though you could have a really strong disclaimer, and I take Barry's point well, at the beginning saying, hey, we're not endorsing them, it's still then another for-profit can say, well, you listed these three for-profits, why don't you list us? You know, we provide a service to seniors. It's just you know, when the resource directory was first posted, that was kind of, if I remember way back, when we first talked about doing it, it was supposed to be very simple, your very basic resources in the community. Here's where you get food, here's where you get fuel assistance, and it was, one of my concerns back then was that it just kind of, that it was gonna take on a life of its own and start to have a mission creep kind of for that resource directory. And I think with this, with maybe including for-profits, it's a little bit too much mission creep for me. So I think that Val's suggestion is a good one to run it by Suzanne Egan, but I would be running it by Suzanne with the thought that my preference would be that we draw that line in that we list resources when it's a nonprofit partner that we collaborate with, that we know the good work that they do, but that we draw the line at a city entity in any way appearing to endorse a for-profit just doesn't seem right to me. But I will run it by Suzanne if the board thinks that it warrants that.
Well, so without objection, I'll just move this to the next month's agenda where we'll have a decision from Suzanne and we can move on it. Okay?
Yep.
Let's see. Remote programming. Anything else, by the way, on resource guide before I move? You all set? Okay. Program developed. Anything out in Magnolia or Lanesville?
Not yet, Fred.
Okay. How about 1623 Studios?
No. In what regard? What were we hoping to get?
Just in terms of anything interesting, particularly on the senior channel.
We're on the cusp of getting a new program up there that focuses on the bigger celebrations that we have here. We do have something up there that's going to be aging out soon on, actually not even soon. We have something new on the circuit breaker tax credit that we put up, letting some folks know about some potentially exciting things related to getting that tax credit. And yeah, no, I think the last virtual senior center meeting, I was couldn't attend because I was in the interview process.
Yes. Okay. Any questions for Elise on that before I move? Thank you. Brenna, what's up at the Y?
Hi, everyone. Let's see, what's up at the Y? Well, I'm sure you saw that the building on 71 Middle Street is no longer there. So
like the best potential for being a swimming hole that I've seen in Gloucester in a long time.
yeah, so I have to admit it was a little nerve-wracking during the demolition. So I'm so relieved that it's all happened, and there was one shattered window which belonged to us. It was the building next door, which was our building. That's another transitional housing building.
Yeah.
So anyway, in terms of the senior affordable housing project and when it will be finished, we still expect it to be finished about a little less than a year from now. So February 2024. And announcements will go out this summer in terms of the lottery. So we already have quite a few folks that come into the Y and want to talk to people about how to get on that list. And it will be managed through the Gloucester Housing Authority. So no public announcements have gone out yet, and we'll definitely keep everyone here in the loop once it's ready to be sent out. But it will be third-party lottery selection.
Is your management contract through the Gloucester Housing Authority as well?
No, the management. So for once it's established, we'll have a building manager that will be hired by the Y.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what we currently have in the building next door. It's the Patillo building. And then we have an executive director of our housing overall who you met and who I'll probably invite back into the conversation. Yes. Yeah. So he's very knowledgeable, and I think he'd be great to be invited back to talk about the income requirements and the pricing and all of that. Yeah.
Anytime.
So
Gloucester Housing Authority then is exclusively for the lottery.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how the lottery selection will work.
Good. Any questions for Rena on that component? Go ahead. Anything further? Rena, go ahead.
No questions? Okay. And So in terms of other areas related to local seniors, so seniors are one of our biggest membership segments. Elise and I have had continued conversations about, what it would look like to bring some form of enhanced fitness back. That we previously did. I think it was maybe 3 years ago. What we've really focused on is flexible pricing for seniors. So steeply discounted memberships, based on income. We have a lot more options for folks to get their membership covered through their health insurance. So that's been something that seems to be working really well for a lot of seniors. So if anyone has any questions or if anyone has any feedback in terms of affordability, please let me know. But that's the main thing we've been focused on is increasing funding and coverage just for seniors to get a full membership instead of, just a singular class program.
Does Mass Health contribute towards the membership? Do you know?
Yes. Yeah. So Mass Health has a program. Yeah. We have, actually a number of people who have just been very excited to be able to transition from a regular paying membership and then getting Medicaid, Medicare, and Mass Health covering it.
Cool.
So we've been able to expand those programs this year a lot more.
Brenna, I would love to put something about that, maybe in a newsletter coming up. May is Older Americans Month, so we try to, do a lot of kind of special stuff anyway. But that seems like a nice thing to make sure that everyone in the community is aware of that. So if we could work together, Arena and I have our next meeting scheduled not until May, just because of our both of our busy schedules. But maybe if you and I could go back and forth by email and figure out what, or a member of your team that works with communications could get me some language to kind of make sure that it's in our newsletter that, hey, by the way, the why, if you're on Mass Health, or, just something to kind of address a teaser, like if you're on this or this or this kind of insurance, you might have a benefit, call the Y, talk to so-and-so, something like that. Seems like it might be good for the seniors and good for the Y too.
Good.
Yeah. So I've just noted that, and we can follow up separately.
Great.
Yeah, happy to do that.
And the enhanced fitness, I had gotten a phone call, and I just I'm on the cusp of having a lot more time, but I did hear from Cassie about the enhanced fitness and trying to find a way to offer that here, because I think that was a goal, but we just didn't get far into that conversation again, just because I've had kind of too much else going on, but I'm on the cusp of having my schedule open up a little bit to be able to talk to Cassie some more about that. So just to let the board know, more to come on that. Renee is kind of handing discussions of us offering enhanced fitness off to her. What is Cassie's title? Her director of physical fitness or fitness program?
Yeah, Cassie Carlson is the director of health and wellness.
Okay,
And she orchestrates the connectors events specifically for seniors. So those are the community.
For the recording secretary, what's the spelling of her last name, please?
Carlson.
Thank you,
Carlson. Yeah.
At least, do you know, does K2Bus, both of you actually, K2Bus actually go to the Y?
Yes.
On a regular basis?
Yes.
Yes.
I called them to confirm that when I was talking to Rosalie about the discussions that we were having. I called and confirmed that they do go exactly right to the front door of the Y. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. How late does that bus run? Do you know? I mean, after work?
Is it? I think it's 5:30 or 6. I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I have to check too, Fred. I know the on-demand runs until 8, but I don't know about the regular bus routes off the top of my head, but I can check.
On demand is until 8 p.m.
I think, yeah.
Okay, so that if somebody needed a transport, they could call the on-demand, right?
It's an app. It's app-based. They'd have to have the technical capabilities to call it by using the app.
Okay, well, we need to investigate that because access, it's the getting home part that always worries me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for somebody who on limited income, it can be very expensive to get home from Blackburn Circle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll take a closer look at that, Fred.
Okay. Any further comment for Irina? Anything else that you'd like to say?
Not right now.
I'm delighted you come to our meetings.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Okay, let's see. Growing the Open Doors Mobile Market. Anything coming on that?
Fred, I'm hoping, and speaking with the Open Door about their upcoming Empty Bowl fundraiser and the changes that they're implementing for that fundraiser this year.
Yep.
From what they described to me, they're going to give everybody, you pick your bowl and you take your soup to go. And they want the vibe there at the event to be kind of like a street fair with different kind of things going on. And that's what I kind of thought you were aiming for the mobile
Yes.
market day, was that we create that kind of environment in there. So
Yeah.
I kind of hope that I could attend that event and maybe leverage my nice polite way of saying steal ideas from people, leverage some of their ideas and see if maybe we could adapt them to the environment that we're hoping to create here at the mobile market.
Cool. No, I
And
just think
again, once we get the new position seated, it'll be a lot easier to kind of get that going.
yeah, I just think the fact that we ask people not to give speeches or actually really any presentations at all on Thursdays and Fridays, those persons that might ordinarily want to speak at lunches would have an opportunity to come to the mobile market and have either a table or sign or stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Any comment on that before I move on? No? Okay. We're going quickly here. This is good. Rosie's Cafe. What's up? Elise, how are they doing?
It's holding steady. I mean, I think Fridays are growing even just because now that a lot of the bingo regulars are realizing, geez, they'll just come in early, and get lunch too.
Yep.
So I think last Friday we had close to 50. I mean, we're still doing between 40 and 50 each Thursday or Friday.
Yep.
Before Thursday was the bigger day, but Friday's kind of catching up now
Okay.
with some of the bingo regulars becoming lunch regulars.
I have started to use Thursdays and Friday lunch to have meetings with friends. This something of a business component to the meeting. It's not entirely social, but I am drawing people in to come in just to be in the environment. Lunch is very good.
It is.
I'm not kidding you. It's really excellent. It started off, as you might imagine, with a remarkable soup. It was a wonderful curried carrot soup one time. Most recently was a cheese sauce broccoli soup, rich and thorough and smooth and lovely, and then an interesting tuna salad sandwich that had been spiced with differently than I would do it. Wasn't at all unpleasant, but it was just different and interesting. And a bag of air fried chips and an apple. Also, they had a rice salad with pine nuts that was, and it looked so dumb and innocuous. It's kind of stuffed in a little, plastic cup. It was heavenly. I mean, seed by seed. It was really very good. So, and for freebies, it was busy full. I'm about to have my sort of semi-annual meeting with Julie for predicting my contribution to the Open Door, and I'm interested in re-energizing the salad bar for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to augment the senior cares catered lunch. Does anybody have any comments, either pro or con, to reinstituting the salad bar on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? I hope it would have the same reaction that it had initially, which is to double or treble the census, which is now holding about, I don't know, 8 to 10 people, something like that, without the salad bar. So that does require them to come up with a paid person to oversee the operation, and usually 2 volunteers that come with them, because the operation of the salad bar is an entirely independent exercise because of its public health regs. And Rosalie who's absent today, but she's been very helpful overseeing that to make sure that it's top flight for issues of public health and whatnot. Well, if there's no, yes.
Right. So my question would be, who would oversee the salad bar and provide, again, the public health issue to make sure it's safe?
That is a person from Open Door who has taken ServSafe training, who oversees the stocking and whatnot, and the 2 volunteers that are involved in maintaining and setting it up and breaking it down and whatnot. As I say, it's a completely separate operation from whatever's going on with the meal.
Okay.
Okay. And we own the salad bar that belongs to us. Okay, well, when I see her, I will ask, probably gonna cost me, but I don't care. So, it's my pleasure. Okay, cool. See, senior center is a green building demonstration project. All I know is that, is her name Gemma? Is that right?
Gemma,
Yeah,
well, yep,
in the planning or engineering?
community development, I think, is planning, community development, yeah.
She is the person who is spearheading the initiative of this for the citywide. So I presume unless I hear anything from her or from Michael Hale, we are at least in queue and whatnot. At least you're saying there's a lot more activity on the roof and whatnot for people who are involved.
Oh, yeah, they're up on the roof a lot lately. And like I said, I came in this morning and Ryan Knowles, our IT director, was in the lobby meeting with the folks that are gonna be rewiring the building. It's so exciting. It's so
Cool.
exciting. Yes.
Let's see. Where did we leave off with Betty? You were going to inquire, I think, with Shaw's about the digital discounts.
Yes, and I actually met with the Shaws on Railroad Ave.
Yeah.
And actually met with Jason, who's the store manager, and Wendy, who is their human resources person. And the long and the short of it is they will not honor if someone comes in and says, I see this digital coupon in the newspaper. They cannot override that. That's their store policy to give that discount. But they said they would both be very willing to come down to the senior center, do a program, and help the seniors load that onto their cell phones, teach them how to do it, spend time with them. They were very, very willing to come forward and do a presentation.
Okay. So you'll
Yeah.
dovetail with Elise on this?
That you know, the neediest among our members
Don't have this one?
are on the low income flip phones. They don't even have a smartphone. They can't download an app. Those are the people that need the sale prices the most. The people that are walking on foot to the Shaws on Railroad Ave.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I don't think that's going to be solved at the store level. I mean, I almost want to ask MCOA to get a bunch of COAs to start like picketing in front of these grocery stores, because this needs to be solved, I think, at the higher levels. They need to be shamed into it or something. I mean,
Yes, and I explained that to them. I explained that to them and said a lot of our people, our clients that come into the senior center don't have a smartphone. They're working off a cell phone. I tried to make that very clear, and they were very adamant that Shaw's management would not override. Whereas Stop and Shop was willing to say, if they show me the coupon in the paper, we'll give them that price. So they just, you know, it doesn't help if you want to come and do a presentation if they don't have the equipment to download onto a phone.
Okay. Val, what are your thoughts on this? Citywide.
So I was just thinking as I was listening to this might be something that we could escalate to Ann Margaret and Bruce Tarr, because it seems to me as if this has implications at the state level because if they're doing it to one of the chains here in Gloucester, it means that it's happening statewide. So, you know, if you wanted, Elise, if you wanted to just kind of draw up, or I think Betty, you were the one that was working on that, right? So maybe if the two of you could draw something up for me with kind of maps, I can turn that into a request to see if any member of the Senate or the House wants to put in a bill to come up with some rules to this. I don't know, just a thought.
yeah,
It's better than a thought, it's an action.
I suppose one sign it. Yeah.
Barry.
Betty, thank you for mentioning mouseprint.org. And I'm going to repeat that. It's mouseprint.org. It's a consumer type of online magazine. They did an article on January the 9th, 2023 on this issue.
Yes.
And this is a national issue. And it's going to require the legislation because of the stance that the major companies have taken. But if you want the background on this and why it's got to move to legislation, if you go to mouseprint.org, again, thank you, Betty, for bringing that up. That's an interesting magazine,
Yes.
online magazine.
It's called Mouse Print, Mouse, as in a mouse.
Yeah, just as it sounds, mouseprint.org. And it's really fascinating. But the point is that they were highlighting in January of this year, a New Jersey assemblyman filed the first bill in the country to require retailers to provide not only the digital coupons, but print coupons for those that do not have internet access. And that's what it's going to take. And there's already in this Mouse Print article, a model information for how to go to the legislators and put the
Great.
pressure on.
Cool. Thank you, Barry. All
It
right.
was an interesting article. I heard about them. I heard about Mouse Print. But I was listening to a radio show one day, and there was a fellow that was on who was he was just obsessed with this. So that's how I got involved with it.
Yeah.
Great. The mouse that roared. Yes, Susan.
It seems to me that the reason they're so big on this is that it provides them with tracking information. And I think that's part of this problem. I mean, the more information they can store, the more they know about you and your shopping habits and can target you for. So, you know, even though I have digital access, I don't use those things. And I think it's too bad. It was bad enough with the little card you need that, you know, to get the discount, and it just gets worse all the time.
Yeah.
So I think our legislature needs to do something about it.
I had a friend who had a wicked side. He would stand in line and convince the person in front of him to switch those cards, because the person in front would be buying baby food and diapers and stuff. And they would screw up their marketing people, something terrible. Because this guy would be buying beer and, you know, pretzels and stuff. Suddenly it's baby food. Anyway, you'd have liked him. He was a very nice guy. Okay, let's see, where are we? Rosalie will speak to us next month, the director's report.
The director's report is that wish I could tell you that we've made an offer, but I'm on the cusp. The minute I can tell you this, that the minute we get off of this meeting, I will be in touch with personnel to let them know that I checked 3 references yesterday, and those references were outstanding. So that's where we are with our search for our new activities and volunteer coordinator, which has been taking up an enormous amount of time. Thank you so much to Betty and Suzanne and Rosalie for serving on that hiring committee. We had some outstanding candidates. We had a great problem to have, which was 3 finalists who were hard for us to decide amongst. That is definitely the problem that you want to have. So I hope to be able to make an offer today, and I imagine that the candidate will want to sleep on it, and maybe hopefully we'll have our person tomorrow. And then we'll have to wait for them to, you know, give notice, and that will give me the opportunity to meet with Ryan and IT to make sure that we have the person set up here from an IT standpoint in an optimal fashion. So that's really the biggest thing. The other kind of stuff is that we're starting to try to plan for May being Older Americans Month, as it is every year, and there's always a theme. And this year the theme is Aging Unbound, and you know, talking a lot about busting through ageism and stereotypes and some of the pigeonholes that seniors get put in. And that's a really nice meaty theme that I think I can embrace. We want to try to put some programming in place around that. I had a discussion with our local celebrity DJ, Scotty Mack, the other day, and he was asking him if he'd be interested in coming to do our DJing our Fiesta party that we're going to have in June. And he suggested that he'd like to come sooner than that because he misses the seniors, and he wants to come down and do a Motown day. So I think we're going to do a Motown Monday, probably on May 22nd, maybe have that be an ice cream social as well. Who doesn't like Motown? Hopefully the board agrees. That would be a fun thing. So just trying to keep things plugging along and make plans for May, but keep in mind that, you know, very soon someone will be in place who will be you know, able to be more solely focused on that kind of stuff. And that is when, once we get that person in place and I get a bunch of stuff off my plate, that's going to enable me to pivot towards being more available to deepen existing collaborations, hire in a deepen existing collaborations, and make some new collaborations with some of our great entities here in the city.
But at least it's the AED, the new machines, are they in and operational?
Yes, the AED machine is new and in and operational. Yep.
Wonderful. Suzanne, you were going to ask about the shredding?
Yeah.
Gonna ask
Yeah.
about what?
Go ahead. Suzanne, go ahead.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I can't hear everybody that well on my computer today. I just wondered if we in the past had a shredding day, and if not, could we do one?
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that, Suzanne. We were planning on having a shredding day on a Saturday, and we reached out to the school department, the DPW school department kind of combo to try to use O'Malley School parking lot, because my understanding is that in the past, it's jammed up traffic a little bit too much and not to do it through our parking lot. And it really should be a Sunday, because I think a lot of the seniors that are served by the shredding event are some of the ones in that age range where folks are still working. So we got a lot of the internal pieces in place for that. We got the approval to do the Saturday we wanted O'Malley, and now we're having a hard time finding a vendor that does that type of thing. We haven't given up yet. We're going to keep looking. There's got to be somebody out there. There used to be, so there's got to be someone out there that'll bring a shredding truck, and we're working on that for May, Suzanne.
Yeah, the Cape Ann Savings Bank used to do it, so they may have a contact.
Okay, good. If we run out of gas with the vendors that are already approved through the city, I'll reach out to them, because getting a new vendor approved is not that big of a deal. So
Right.
we want to be able to pull that off. Yeah, I think that's important.
There was an enormous truck in the area. I should have written it down. That said it did, large scale shredding. So there's a mobile truck out there.
Yeah. Once we find the truck too, my plan is to reach out to the school department, maybe find somebody in the athletic department at the high school and see if maybe we can get football team, some kind of bunch of strong young people to help with, like, I need the box. Oh, the box of stuff is in my trunk. Just have some strong people to just take it from trunk to shredding truck or whatever. So
Right.
hopefully we'll be able to collaborate with some young muscle for that stuff too.
Cool. Anything further on
Good,
this
great.
subject before we move? Okay. Thank you for the director's report. Hiring committee, we speak about anything. Anybody got any new business they want us to deal with next month? Val?
Thank you. I just want to put on the next month's agenda. I want to update the board on the Ennisquam Village Players plans for this summer for a performance that is going to be aligned with the 400th celebration.
Good.
And they're going to be offering a session both at the Maritime Gloucester location or at the Village Hall. So I just wanted to present what it is and then get consensus from the board which venue you think would be easier and more fun for the seniors. And
Do you have
just
a
kind
date
of hearing the buzz about the Maritime Gloucester, that sounds kind of cool. And it certainly would be easier for all the busing and everything else because it's right there in the center of town.
Do you have dates on that, Val?
I do, but I'll have to send them to you. If I go in a search right now, keep talking, and if I can get the date, I'll.
No, yeah,
You
next month.
But
Next
if
month
it's
is
on,
fine.
if it's on the agenda, but I'd be wondering what the capacity is over there, Val. But again, I would expect if you want it on next month's agenda, you can address that then. The capacity, how many? Because I think you get a lot more over there.
Okay, let's see. Anything else for new agenda items? Okay,
Wait, I have one more.
yes, please, go ahead.
For next month. I would love to have maybe Renee come from Senior Care from Elder Services to talk to all of us about the process of which people can refer people that they feel might need extra services. Because a lot of times I think we as board members kind of get involved with issues that are outside of our purview. And it would be helpful for me to better understand what the process is for folks that can deal with elder abuse, elder concern, cognitive decline, and at least educate us on how to guide people to the right expert.
That's I was just about to talk about that, so I don't have to, because you did. Thank you, Val. Because yes, we need that as a policy, citywide.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Fred, do you want to invite Renee to attend next month's meeting, or do you want me to?
Would you please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, that's great. Let's see, building facility. Things continue to percolate, although there's nothing much new. Let's just say that nothing is off the list from before. Some serious progress has been made in pulling together a design proposal for bifurcating the Great Hall. The city has an arrangement with, typically it's an architectural firm where I can't say the name, but Michael Hale has forwarded me detailed letter communication back and forth with people who are taking a serious interest in this. And we will also be working with IT, so it's not to diminish our ability to broadcast from either space if there are two programs that are running simultaneously. But that room ultimately will be made much more useful for two program spaces with soundproofing in between, and that's something that the mayor is strongly in favor of. There's money behind that project, enough so that the architect is seriously employed coming up with a solution for that. Otherwise, the rubber roof, Lisa's been saying that there's been people up and down on the roof. I did not have a conversation with Michael Hale this month because there's enough going on, but my sense from my last conversation with him that I don't know that I mentioned at our meeting was that probably all of the rooftop units, the air handlers, are going to be replaced, just as a matter of efficiency and not putting any more holes in the roof than absolutely necessary. And the efficiency of the new machines will ultimately be a payback. So they will not be heat pumps, I understand. It's a different technology that they're using, but my understanding is that there's been a bid put out and it's been researched and approved and whatnot. So all that stuff is part and parcel of the process of putting the new roof on. And with that also will be improvements in the air ducting to the kitchen, which therefore means that once that's done, then all that stuff that's in the kitchen will be hooked up and made operational and will be in business there as well. So things really are moving on the building. We have a written communication from IT where Ryan has just a checklist of everything that we're interested in doing. All of this will fall in place once the new roof is on, including all the rewiring. As Elise said, that people are actually in the building really seriously doing that. And further to that, our discussion about security issues, Ryan had already put together a good schematic drawing for his wiring. And so what he did was to add to that proposal for placing of cameras, both straight shot cameras taking a wide angle as well as ceiling mounted things for a 360 view. And he sent me a file on that, which I had been large copies made at Seaside Graphics. And Lisa and I yesterday went through the building comparing Ryan's initial proposal. We found a couple of places where we think could use tighter surveillance. Before we move outside, Lisa, anything you want to comment on that thus far?
No, that was a very productive walkthrough yesterday, Fred. I think we had a good handle on it, and I think the things that we identified that I need to talk to Ryan about are gonna.
Then there's outside surveillance as well, which would be additional camera work, but also for lighting in order to augment what's already there. And I have yet to see the building lit at night, so I don't know what's covered and what isn't. I don't know whether any of you have seen the building or know anything about that.
I forgot to drive by last night, Fred, like I promised you I would, but I'm gonna mute myself and have Siri remind me to drive by the building tonight. 'Cause I'll do it anyway tonight.
One thing that Elise will have, I hope, is at her desk, she will have access to all of the cameras so that, without moving an inch, she can respond to, any, part of the building inside or out. And also some of those cameras, can be, manually zoomed, from a sitting position, because it's a system, a very similar system to what we installed at the library, and worked very efficiently in order to be able to, if somebody simply messing with a key or somebody's trying to get into a car, they could, without disturbing anybody, they could do a camera inquiry. So she'll have access to all that information from her desk. Cool. Anything further? Yes, Barry.
I got a chance to look at the schematics that you put out,
Oh, good.
and it's all very preliminary. So what caught my eye immediately was a door at the back of the building, which doesn't exist currently, which is obviously being proposed. And it actually shows it. I can go back to it. It actually shows it with a camera looking at it. And so can anybody tell me whether there's been a door proposed there? Because currently there's no door there on that schematic. And I was assuming, and I think I found something in the discussions that was part of the planning for the acoustical wall, so that you'd have two exits, one on each side of the wall if it's in place. But
I think that the door you're referring to is the door that leads out to the parking lot at the far end of the main reception area.
nope, it's
Yeah. And that door is going to be made power in order to meet ADA requirements. It's not a power door, but Michael has that on his list of things to do.
right. It does show it as an electronic striker door. No,
Yeah.
there's another door there that if you go back, and I had to bring mine up on my screen here because I can't bring it up on the iPad. There's a second door that's being shown there,
Oh.
which is again, I thought I was looking for information. Is there something planned as part of the door project
No.
or the wall project to make a second means?
You are addressing a concern I've had about having two exits from each if the room is separated. But Elise and I solved that yesterday by identifying two exits from each side. So I'm not sure what you're looking at.
Well, again,
I'll look more closely.
You sent out the MEA Engineering Associates schematics, basically,
Yes.
for the cameras and
Yep.
the views, basically, is what it
Yes.
shows. Oh, okay, so if you go back to those and take a look at it, it's showing an additional door there.
Okay, I will.
If
I will.
if you want to,
And I was curious if it was part of the project.
No.
Barry, I have the schematics blown up nice and big that Fred got printed out for me. If you
Yeah.
want to come down, I can show you, I can stand there and show you what door that it is talking about the rear door that everybody uses when they come in from the parking lot. That's the door. There's no new door.
No.
Maybe I think if we were standing there with the giant plans, then we could see it together.
Right. And our meeting yesterday, Elise and I, is preparatory to a walk around with Ryan in order to nail this down. And as I say, we're going to be adding a couple of things so that if all of you look more closely and see areas of concern, please give us a heads up, because the budget for this is a floater. And apparently some of the cameras can run up to $8,000, so that we have to be judicious in what we're suggesting. But we still think there are at least two places that need either a ceiling mount, which is nowhere near as expensive, or something with an actual camera. And I don't think there's anything outside. Yes, Barry.
The other thing I noticed more practically, on the schematics, it shows a camera in the sitting area on the second floor, basically just beyond Elisa's office.
Yes.
And again, where the library, the old videos were and all that good stuff. That camera is sitting primarily in the sitting room. If that camera was moved back about towards Elisa's office, about 4 feet, it would then give a view, because it's a 360 camera, right down the corridor to the opposite end of the building. In other words, you'd be looking right down the entire corridor.
Cool.
That would be my recommendation, that camera be slightly moved back so that on the 360 view, you'd be able to look right down the corridor.
Barry, are you willing to come with us on this walk around?
Sure, I'll be happy to.
Oh, great. Okay, good.
I thought we had a 360 in the little sitting room right outside my
Elise,
office.
we'll
and
work this
in the
out
library.
Elise, we'll work. Hey, Barry's gonna come on the walkabout. We can work this out offline.
Yeah,
Good.
it's simply a movement of that camera a little
Okay,
bit.
no, Barry, this is,
That kind of stuff.
yeah, if you're willing to come, that would be great. We'll loop you in on that.
Keep me in the
Great.
loop.
Okay,
Can I chime in? I've got the dates for you. It took me
Oh,
a
good.
while.
yes, please.
So Tuesday, August 8th, could be a possible date
Yep.
at the
Yeah.
Village Hall for this year's production.
Okay,
And then the other date is Wednesday, August 9th, which they're suggesting might be a better alternative because that is going to be at Maritime Gloucester. And what I'll do is I'll find out what the capacity is for the event at Maritime Gloucester. And then I will be prepared to present that at the next meeting.
okay. Val, is there a possibility of one of those being a matinee instead of an evening performance?
No, I mean, I would say 2/3 of the cast work full-time.
Okay.
And these are midweek.
Because that does affect the seniors who would show an interest, at least from the echo from last time. There were some people who were troubled by being so late.
Yeah, last year was not a good, it was very, very, very long and it was very, very hot. So it was not a good, that
test.
was not a good example of
Okay,
what,
but they will be evening performances nonetheless, right?
that is correct.
Cool, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've covered, I think, just about. I mean, as I say, nothing has been taken off the list. Elise, you were talking about wanting to change the rug in the technology center.
Yeah, right now the technology center that's, slated for the kind of the whole reimagining, it is carpeted in there and, yeah, I think that should be a laminate floor because we want that to have the flexibility to be able to everything's going to be on casters and stackable to give that room maximum flexibility. So one of the things we thought is, when all that stuff is kind of stacked and pushed off out of the way, it could be an additional maybe like yoga space or space for something like that. And there are certain activities that you really want a smooth floor surface and not a carpet floor. There are some other drawbacks to carpets, especially in an environment that's going to have everything on casters. So I think we're going to go for a laminate in there.
Cool. All right. We've got moving at the speed. The next meeting, by the way, is in person.
Mm.
Smile, Betty. We did
We're
it
doing
just for
another
you.
Zoom meeting.
Okay, let's see, going around, anybody have any last minute thoughts? Want to add to items that we've already, yes, Susan, please.
I just have a question because for obvious reasons, I haven't been down to the center for a while. But I wondered what happened with our code of conduct. Did that get posted or what's the status there?
It is posted. It's posted all around the building. We haven't kind of blown it up big yet, but I do want to kind of put some bigger versions of it in a couple spots. But on an 8.5 by 11, it's all over the place. And it's going to be featured prominently in the booklet that I'm going to be able to start working on as soon as I get my new person in, or actually sooner than that. I'm going to turn my attention to that booklet probably as soon as I'm done with my budget meeting next week. So it'll be in that booklet that we're going to hand folks. And I'm working with Suzanne Egan on a bunch of stuff. There are ways that we want to kind of make it clear to people that code of conduct is in effect for any program of the Rose Baker Senior Center, whether it's in this building or not, that code of conduct is still the code of conduct. That is the expectation. So I'm working with city's legal counsel to try to make sure that we find the appropriate way to make that clear.
Okay, in the interest of protecting with open meeting law, we can't speak about things that are not on the agenda, but anybody have anything on the agenda that you might want to add to now before we adjourn? Hearing none, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Sure.
Thank you, Barry. Is there a second?
I
Second.
second it.
Don't all speak at once. Hey, Val, we did this, you can still stay. This is really cool. Thank
I'm
you.
so proud of you for doing everything right. You're doing the roll call because we're on Zoom. You're awesome.
He is awesome. I second that, Val.
Again, thank you for coming from the Y. I do really appreciate, I know you're busy.
Thanks, Serena.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Good to see you all. I'll see you soon.
Bye, one and all.
Good to see you.
We're done.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great
Yep.
day.
Bye.
And the time is 10:30.
This is Arena.